1237 News Radio 700 WLW. The average American, Ken Brew, in for the great American Bill Cunningham. You know, it's the most wonderful time of the year for a lot of us. We're going to be seeing family and friends, and there'll be dinners and gifts exchanged and everything that makes us happy and makes us very, very grateful for being alive and being able to share those things. But there is a large segment of the population where this time of the year is not the happiest time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year. It's a time of the year when their lives are filled with stress and depression. And the weather doesn't factor into that a lot, but it doesn't help it. I mean, being dark, getting dark early, and things like that. And so you may not feel like you're there at a point of depression, because if you are, you need to seek professional help. But you may get the holiday blues, because maybe things aren't as rosy as they were a year ago. There might be someone who was in your life last year that's not in your life now. So what do you do? How do you cope with the holiday blues? How do you make yourself more on even keel in this holiday season? We love having Leigh Richardson on the show. She is a licensed professional counselor, and she's standing by right now on the AcuteHearingCenters.com hotline. And Leigh, good afternoon, and Merry Christmas, and how are you?
I am great, thank you, and happy holidays to you. And I mean, in Dallas, it's sunny and beautiful today, and certainly those gray days do impact my mood, particularly around Christmas, where we're just all a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, well, it's nice up here too. It's sunny. It's 60, so it's I think it's that way in a lot of places. But you and I both know that there are people that simply have a difficult time handling this time of the year, and for a lot of reasons. And it's not necessarily depression. It's just where, they are in their point of life. And maybe, as I said in the introduction, maybe they, something had happened in the last year. A loved one died, or a relationship went south, or it might be something where a job was lost. I'm just wondering, how do you get back onto even keel and start recognizing that all is not bad and that you have a lot of great things going on in your life, even though maybe there are a few that are not so great going on right now? How do you do that?
I think the most important thing really is to keep active. We all tend, when it gets cold and dark and things aren't going our way, we socially isolate. We kind of want to hunker down. And I think the most important thing is engage in some kind of exercise, even if it's just walking the mall. Get out and move a little bit, because exercise releases endorphins. Endorphins make us feel good. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing to do.
Second thing is, don't look, and again, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I just know where you and I have gone on this and before. Second thing is, don't look for crutches. Don't look for food or for alcohol or for something like that, because in the end, it's really not going to be lasting, and it's not going to help you all that much, right?
Absolutely. And I think another thing, don't look for social media. Oh. Don't look to compare yourself to everybody else. So many of us are in search of the perfect holiday. And you and I both know, Ken, it doesn't exist. No. It's not out there.
No. The perfect holiday isn't out there. The perfect gift isn't out there. The perfect meal isn't out there. We are all imperfect. Most families are dysfunctional. And we got to figure out, just put the fun in dysfunctional and just have a good time with those that are around you, and maybe in a sense want to support you. But it's difficult, as you well know, because sometimes you can't get past what's right there in front of you. How would you suggest to someone to condition themselves if, for example, they're going to meet relatives, and maybe they're going to be with some people they're not all that they're fond of? Do you have to give yourself a little pep talk before you go, or do you have to make boundaries here in your expectations on how the meal may go?
Well, I think both are helpful, but I think, keep a balance, because we all know we have those things that we have to do that we don't want to do. Well, be sure you balance that off with something that you're really excited about, or seeing a friend that you're really looking forward to. And, everybody's looking, we talked about the perfect holiday, but it's your holiday of choice. Mm-hmm. It's your decision how much time you spend with the people and where you go. So we all have our obligations. Take care of those obligations. but keep a balance so that you take care of yourself too.
Sure, and I think, and again, I think you have to know yourself, right? What triggers, for example, this feeling? Maybe it's a feeling of angst, or maybe it's a feeling of outrage, or whatever it may be. I think sometimes when we have that happen to us, I think it's good to sit back and just say, okay, well, what caused that? And I mean immediately, not 4 or 5 days down the road, but you come, all right, well, why did I react that way? I think you got to get to understand yourself and your base, and that way it'll help you understand why you act the way you do.
Absolutely, and it all starts with those negative thoughts. Negative thoughts create negative feelings. Negative feelings create negative behavior. So when you catch yourself engaging in risky behavior or doing something where you go, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Stop and think about, what were you thinking about? What prompted you to act that way?
Are we negative by nature? Are humans negative by nature?
Well, I think some are and some aren't. I think the winter blues can make us a little more negative than others. And I think holiday times, there's a lot of grief around the holidays for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I think that can make us a little more negative.
Yeah, but you had a great point. Social media, I think it is the bane of our existence in this century. I just think that we see a painting of a portrait that really isn't based in reality, and I think we want to be like the portrait when, in essence, the people that are painting that portrait are not perfect and probably have more problems than you do. I would love to see a moratorium on two things in the next 48 hours, social media and political discourse. If we could just do that over 48 hours, I think the next couple of days are going to be great for everybody, don't you?
I think that'd be fabulous.
Well, how do we pull that off?
That's a good question.
We're chatting with Leigh Richardson. She is a licensed counselor, licensed professional counselor, and she knows all about what's going on in terms of what may be going on with you. By the way, I had you on the show here, maybe it was 6 weeks ago, and a lifelong friend of mine asked me after it was over, said, Leigh Richardson, is she always that calm? Are you always that calm, Leigh? I have to ask that question for my buddy because I'm going to see him here next week.
Well, no.
No?
On a good day, I am. You just catch me on my good day.
It must be, yeah. But I mean, it just seems like you're just nice and calm and relaxed and all that. If there's one thing, Leigh, that we could pass on from our talk here today to someone that might be listening and might be dreading something that's coming up and does all the things that we've suggested, get exercise, create positive thoughts from negative thoughts, that old cognitive behavior therapy. What would you suggest? One or two things that can get somebody that's struggling with anything through the next 48 hours.
Believe in yourself. Absolutely believe in yourself. And, you got to stay on your own side. We all have those self-critical thoughts that come in, and we all have self-defeating thoughts. But believe in yourself and stay true to yourself. Self-care is self-love. Self-love is self-discipline.
I like that. See, you are the calmest woman I've met in my life. Leigh Richardson, licensed professional counselor. You have a great week, both Christmas, however you spend it, and the New Year, too. We'll catch up in 2020. How about that?
Sounds great. Look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
I bet you. Leigh Richardson. But that's it. You got to stay true to yourself. You have to know exactly who you are, what sets you off. And before you go to see somebody or go to a situation that might make you feel bad or might make you feel blue or might make you feel angry, let's face it, we're going to be around people this week that we don't particularly care a whole lot for, and that they get under your skin and that they needle you a little bit, or they say things, and it might be unintentional or it might be vicious that's going to set you off, but you have to accept their presence because you want to be around everyone else that's there. Hey, give yourself a little pep talk. Understand, hey, look, this is going to happen. And when it does happen, this is how I'm going to choose to behave. There was a great book that was done, and I can't remember the name of it. But basically, the gist of the book was you control your own life and how you want to live it and who you want to surround yourself with. And if you don't want to surround yourself with someone because that someone is just a pain in the old patootie, well, then you have to tell that person, look, love you like a brother, but I can't take this anymore. And if you want to be in my life and I want you to be in my life, well, let's set some boundaries up here. And some of the stuff that you talk about that bothers me, your politics or your thoughts about someone that I think a lot of, check them at the door. And then we can have the kind of relationship that I think that we're both looking for. But it's difficult. Difficult for a lot of people, not just because of that, but because of what may or may not have transpired over the last year. No easy roads to travel in life, but you can make it a little bit easier if you just take a little bit of time to set the ground rules for yourself.